Another video back at you with MJZ Comics, and we are going to give you a tour of MJZ office headquarters. Matt and I are really excited to do this with you guys. We're going to go kind of slow and just show you a lot of our collection that we have on display in the office. So that gave you a little bit overview of the room. I'm going to walk you through the room a little bit while Matt kind of videos from the background. So right when you enter the office here, you see our life-size Spider-Man. Gotta love it. Kind of an imposing figure when you enter the room. And when we start on this wall here, we have a lot of our ungraded key books. Just some of our highlighted books. A lot of first appearances. You know, we have John Stewart, Polaris, Iron Man #1, The First Vision, Sandman, Elektra. We have first Starjammers, first Silver Age Cap, Sabretooth, first Galactus, and I'm sure you guys know what most of these are. A book that's kind of rare on this wall that I really like is this Captain Marvel down here. It's ultra rare from the Golden Age, and that's the first appearance of Mr. Mind. So again, a lot of our raw key books, a lot of them are in very good condition. Just haven't graded everything yet. And then on the top row up there, we've got a row of 9.8 CGC graded books. Bunch of first appearances. Probably the highlights up there for us, we have the Gamora first appearance, a 9.8. That's a really rare book in that grade. And then followed with Gamora, we have Nebula. Can't go one without the other. Then we have Archangel, second print Miles Morales, a Delato Gamora variant, one of my favorite covers. And then we have Val-Zod, first cover appearance I love. And then obviously we have the Red Hood and the first Jason Todd appearance. And as you move through the room here, we have this customized shelving unit. We have built-in cubbies, and we'll kind of talk about this. Up along the very top, we've got our Clone Wars action figure collection. One of our favorite Star Wars lines, a bunch of different unique Clone War action figures. Some of them are pretty rare. We start here in the cubbies. You can kind of see by the video, and most you probably know what those books are. Highlighted in the top cubby, we've got the black suit Hot Toys Superman. I love that figure. And behind that, we have a 9.8 Steppenwolf, one of my favorite DC villains. And then next to that, you can see the Dr. Fate. That's his first solo title and a 9.6. And if we drop down below that, we have some Star Wars titles, along with a few Hot Toys action figures. And we drop down one more cubby, starts our quarter scale Darth Malik. We have some Elite Force action figures cornered by a couple comic books there. The next row here, the top cubby, most of them are pretty good self-explanatory books. We've done some videos on some of those. First comic of interest that I ever purchased in my life was that Wolverine 1, and it ended up getting graded in 9.8. I took very good care of that. I think I purchased multiple copies when I was a youngster and kept one of them in really good shape. And then next to that, we have one of our favorite X-Men books. It's the animated X-Men Adventures. And then we drop down to the cubby below that. A couple of my favorite martial artists, which is we have the first appearance of the Iron Fist in a 9.6, and then right next to that we have the first appearance of the White Tiger, and that book is autographed by George Perez. Next to that we have two copies of New Mutants 16, and that is the first appearance of Warpath, one of my favorite kind of not as well used X-Men or New Mutants Warpath. And one book is just a regular CGC direct edition, and the other book is interesting. It is a 9.8 Canadian price variant newsstand. It's a little more on the rare side. Below that, then we have our quarter scale Darth Revan to go with the Malik. We have some pops. And then the books behind there, we have a really cool Larfleeze first full appearance with a couple other interesting books. A Hercules book in a 9.6. We have Power Man on Your Fist 9.8, and then an awesome X-Men book, the first appearance of Sauron in a 9.6. Moving on to the next group of cubby. Up on the top, we have some of our favorite mutant books. Starting on the left, we have a Gambit 9.8 in newsstand, followed with some of their action figures in 6 scale in front, Warpath in the middle, Deadpool, Gambit. Behind there, we have Omega Red, two 9.8s. One is the newsstand and one is the direct edition. And then you can see the CBCS 9.8 Deadpool right next to that. Dropping one cubby below, some really cool books. We have the first Spider-Gwen, the first Guardians of the Galaxy, the first Agent Carter, and the first Winter Soldier, who's got to be my favorite Marvel character of all time. And then the Yondu 6 scale is just amazing in its detail. Drop down one more slot, we have a few action figures highlighted with a couple Transformers, a couple He-Man guys, a little Karate Kid action, and then the books behind. We have a Nova first appearance, a Brother Voodoo first appearance, Dr. Fate Silver Age, Shazam first appearance, not the Golden Age Shazam obviously, but the Shazam 1, and then Kang the Conqueror. The final cubby here to the right, up top we have a couple great 6 scales. We have Electro from Amazing Spider-Man 2, and then the Winter Soldier 6 scale. The books behind, we have the first Marvel Zombies, the first Velzad, the first Spider-Man 2099, and obviously the first Black Panther. Coming down one more row here, we have the first Miles Morales in a 9.8, Punisher 6 scale, Sandman 1. One of my really favorite Marvel books, kind of was hard to get in a 9.8, is the first White Tiger in comic books appearance. And then we have Carnage next to that. And then my Gorilla Grodd action figure. Love that guy. Coming down to the next slot, we have a really cool Batmobile from the animated series. And then the books behind there, we have the first and second Scorpion. Beautiful colors on those books. Next to that, we have the first Gore. Next to that, we have the first Rogue. And then the first Beast Boy, which is a cool book too, in the Doom Patrol. Moving on to the corner wall here, we have a couple unique DC 9.8s up top. We have the first appearance of the Wonder Twins on the right in 9.8. That's a really, I think there's only maybe 15 in the 9.8 on the census. And then next to that, one of my favorite characters in the Peacemaker show, the Vigilante. And that's a unique 9.8 because that's the Canadian Price variant 9.8. Then below that, we have the first Batgirl, and then a really rare Golden Age book next to that, More Fun Comics 77. And this is said by some to be the first cover appearance of the Green Arrow. And I like this cover a lot better. There's another one, blanking on the name of the book, but it's got Green Arrow jumping on the cover, and they came out a month apart. And for a while, the book that we have here was labeled the first appearance, or the first cover appearance of the Green Arrow. And then at some point, it ended up changing. So on this case, now it just says Green Arrow covers begin. But they came out the same year. Like I said, it's Leading Comics. It's a Leading Comics book, yellow cover, and it has the Green Arrow jumping around. Just doesn't look as... I wish they would have kept this as the first cover appearance, but like I said, they're about a month apart when they did the research, both from 1942. Extremely old book. Moving on to the showcase here, we have some highlighted comic books. On the top row there, you can see we have a Batman #3, the fall issue. That is the first appearance of Puppet Master in the first Catwoman costume. Beautiful book. Next to that, we have a 9.8 of Harley Quinn. Then we have, on the right, we have two beautiful 9.9 X-Men first appearances, one of Bishop and the other one of Forge. And in the back, there is a book that's little known. It's the first appearance of the Hunger Dogs, which was by Jack Kirby, and that book is a trade paperback, and the story is about these slaves on Apocalypse that were under Darkseid. Moving on to the next lower space here, we have some of our other great books. You can see what we're looking at right now is the 9.8 Miles Morales variant book. Crazy story, you guys are probably looking at that book, but I actually purchased that for $300 and ended up getting it graded, and it came out a 9.8. Just crazy story. We'll probably do a video on that sometime in the future. Next to that, we have the Doctor Doom first appearance. That's in a custom case. I have in the middle there's a Heimdall Pop, and then we have the Heimdall 6 scale, which is a beautiful figure. We have a couple Wonder Twin statues. In the very back, we have the first appearance of Loki, and then the first appearance of Mr. Miracle in a 9.8, which is a beautiful copy. And then one of our X-Men #1s. Dropping down another level here, you can take a look here. Most of these are pretty recognizable books. We've got the Giant Size X-Men, the Punisher, Wolverine, Ghost Rider, Batman Beyond. And then on the right, a highlighted book, and we did a video on this. This is the first Beta Ray Bill, and that is a newsstand and Mark Jeweler variant in the 9.8. I think it's one of the only ones out in existence like that. Don't have that verified, but it's got to be one of the few out there. Let's go down to the next level here. We've got some more cool books. We've got the Hobgoblin, Darkseid's first appearance, the variant of Riri Williams, and then one of my favorite, kind of obscure Neil Adams books in a 9.8. Just a beautiful cover with Ra's al Ghul. And then laying flat here, we've got obviously the first Venom. Next to that, we have the first appearance of Ahsoka Tano and Captain Rex in the Clone Wars variant. Then I have a Black Knight, high grade, and there is the Submariner. And then below that, we have a few action figures. In this corner, we have some of our quarter scale stuff. We have a Magneto. We have the Winter Soldier, Deathstroke. There is a 6-scale Storm Shadow, our custom Red Hood helmet, and below that we have some Transformers on the lower level. And then going above the entry into the office, we just have a few more lined up Raw books up top there. And then, I don't know if we showed this in the video, but on the floor, if you have been watching our videos on YouTube in our filming room, we have a lot of these on display that are on the floor here. We have some couple copies of the X-Men, Wolverine, giant size X-Men, Ghost Rider. We have a pedigree copy of the Black Knight's first appearance. And then next to that is a really cool book. We have a Fantastic Four book that Matt picked up on auction, and it was owned by the tailor of Stan Lee, and it even says it right on the label, which is really a cool piece of history. And then next to that, we have our Detective Comics 36 that we did a video on. We have a Silver Surfer, another Submariner, and one more giant size X-Men. We are going to take you to one more wing of the office here, where we have specialized in some of our Star Wars memorabilia. So entering the back portion of our office, we have a Star Wars display here. And this, I love the way this turned out. These are some DTOF cases from IKEA, believe it or not, and I got some custom lighting off Etsy. But we wanted to display a lot of our 6-scale troopers and the helmets that we've acquired. We'll give you a second to kind of take it in, and then we'll go over each section real quick here. So starting on the left case here, we have one of the 3 3/4 scale clone tanks. Matt and I love the clones, so we have a lot of clone stuff. As you pan down the case, we have a Sith helmet, specifically from Starkiller from the video game, that was custom made for us, along with the action figure. You go down one more case, and we have our Starkiller Star Wars Insider that was graded by CGC, one of a kind, and then his action figure. We have a Darth Malgus in there, our old Knights of the Republic video game. And we'll drop down one more. We have some of our Darth Maul 6-scale along with the action figure. And then drop down one more level, and we have one of our trooper helmets. Moving on to the next case. As you can see, we have we have a Yoda up top there, a couple Lego ships. And then as we move into the case, some of our cool clones, Rex out front. And we have a couple other, Commander Ganch is in the red on the right. And then Commander Gree is in the left, infamous for having his head chopped off by Yoda in Attack of the Clone, in Revenge of the Sith. And as we drop down here, here's a little thing kind of dedicated to Ahsoka, along with a Grand Admiral Thrawn pop. Dropping down another unit, we have some original giant action figures. We have the Boba Fett from the 70s along with C-3PO. And the original Super Nintendo Empire Strikes Back graded. One of my favorite games as a child. And then one more level down, we have another helmet that was made for us. One of the Mandalorians that worked with Darth Maul in the Clone Wars cartoons. Starting off on top here, we have the other Lego ships. Coming down into the first booth, probably my favorite 6-scale Hot Toys is the Boba Fett arena suit out front there, all in black. And then we have another Rex behind him in the 501st helmet. And we have Clone Commander Wolf on the right. Coming down one more level is our Boba Fett tribute custom helmet that was made for us. Below that we have a custom Commander Wolf helmet. And then below that, this is a 501st helmet that was actually a movie prop from Revenge of the Sith. Coming to the next unit here, we have some more clones at the top. We have our Airborne, our Commander Cody, followed by just one of the green random troopers, and then we have the Bad Batch Echo up front. Below that are some of our Mandalorians with the Mandalorian. And we have a 9.8 Star Wars Insider with the Mando and Grogu on the cover. Below that, a couple of our Black Series figures we like, along with a Mara Jade statue. And below that is a custom heavy artillery Mando helmet. If we go over to the right, keeping low there, we have one of our Death Trooper helmets, which is pretty cool. Coming up one more level is Kylo Ren. Then we have our Malak and Revan section. And on top of that, we have a few more of the troopers that we have. On the very top is a custom Darth Vader statue that was actually on display in the movie theaters in the 80s, and I was able to pick that up from a toy shop had it. I've seen it a couple of times for sale. I don't really know who even made it, but it's a cool Vader statue. It's about a 6 scale. And then we have a couple of cool pictures here on the floor. A custom art print I got at one of the Star Wars celebrations. On top is Darth Vader, and it's called Regrets. It's a beautiful portrait of him out in the rain, and the artist labeled it Regrets. And then below that, I have a custom General Grievous framed montage. So that's going to wrap up MJZ's office collection video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you have questions or want to know where we've gotten certain things, please feel free to hit us up on that. Matt's going to remind you guys to
please like and subscribe, comment, and share this video. We appreciate it a lot.
MJZ out.